Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Sergio again from Beast Mode ESL. Topic for today's video: how to practice your English speaking alone. Why am I talking about that? Well, at this point, maybe you have heard that I have learned English by myself. Maybe I told you that in the past. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. So, four skills we have to develop when we are trying to learn any given language. In English, we call those reading, writing, speaking, and listening. You have to be able to understand what you read. You have to be able to express yourself on paper, writing. You have to be able to understand what people say in English, listening. And you have to be able to express yourself orally, verbally, speaking. Now, speaking seems to be the hardest part of that all, because first of all, you need to have someone to talk to, or at least I thought you did. And whilst you're learning, it's difficult to structure long and complex sentences because sometimes you don't have enough vocabulary, sometimes you do have enough vocabulary, but the structures themselves are too difficult. You don't know when to use the present simple, when to use the present perfect, when to use the past simple, you know? So, one thing you can do: reading aloud helps you a lot with that. That's one thing I did, and that's one thing I can tell you to do. Reading aloud is really good. Reading aloud, well, you're gonna be checking over and over again the correct structures because any book has been revised. So we have revised grammar there, revised spelling, revised grammar. So you're gonna be reading words spelled the right way over and over again. Long structures, long sentences, revised grammar, so it'll be right. You don't have to worry about that. Over and over again. So you just keep a lot of that in your memory when you do that. One thing I can tell you: find your favorite book in your mother language. One of my favorite books in my mother language was Menok o Demônio. And this is it. Menok the Devil. I found it and bought it for some $5 at the time. I was really happy because of it. And this is the first book I've read in English. Right? Now, before I started reading this in English, I had already read this maybe 5, 6 times in my mother language. So when I started reading it, I remembered a lot of it. Not everything, because it's impossible, but I remembered a lot. And that helped me. That helped me a lot when learning this, when reading this. It was really slow at first, really slow, I mean. Even though I have always been a slow reader, this was especially slow, because I couldn't remember everything, and I was just not used to reading in English. But over time, it got faster and faster and faster. Now, it took me a while to finish this book in English, right? But when I read, I didn't read aloud at the time, but when I finished reading it the first time in English, well, second time I read it, I tried to read it aloud. And that's how I developed my English speaking. That's how I started developing my English speaking, by reading aloud. So if you can read like this, you cannot underestimate the effect upon us of the creation of the physical universe. Think for one moment, if you can, what time means and how miserable you might be without it. No, that's not right. What I mean is, without time you could not be conscious of yourself, either in terms of failure or achievement, or in terms of any motion backwards or forwards, or any effect. See? Now, maybe you're not ready to speak like that, because you have to form the sentences while you go, on the flight, as they say. But if you have a book in front of you, sentences are formed. All you have to do is read them properly and in the correct rhythm. So for acquiring that rhythm, That's gold. That's just gold, reading aloud. Besides that, besides reading aloud, one thing you can do, talk to yourself. I have done that a lot. I do that a lot, you know. And when you speak, when you talk to yourself in your mother language, you're crazy, you're nuts. But when you speak to yourself in a second language, well, you're studying, you're practicing, you're not crazy. See? Now, one thing you can do, one thing I do, watch documentaries, watch the news, watch sports in the language you're trying to learn, right? And let's say I'm watching sports. Commentators are talking about something. I don't know. I'm watching the UFC, and they're talking about this or that particular athlete who is not performing well today. But I know that he's not performing well because he was injured and he had a 6 month layoff. I don't know, and I can just verbalize that. I can just say, oh, well, he's underperforming because he didn't have a full camp, or he was injured, and maybe he's not completely recovered now. That's why he's underperforming. You guys know nothing, right? So I'm talking. They're not listening to me, but I'm talking anyway. I'm speaking, and that's the important part. You have to speak. You have to do some output. You have done you have done the input part of it, the input part of learning, which is reading a lot, listening to people speaking a lot, writing, and now you have to speak. So if you don't have anyone to speak to, you speak to yourself or you talk to the TV. It doesn't matter, right? So one thing you can do is talk to yourself. Another thing you can do is read aloud. That's how I developed my English speaking way before I started teaching English. I had to study a lot before I entered the classroom anyway, because you can't just be able to do it. You have to be able to teach how to do it. So you can't just say, this is right and this is wrong. You have to learn why this is right, why this is wrong, and be able to teach it. So I had to study a lot, even though I didn't study at a school. I studied by myself, right? So there you have it. You want to learn how to speak? You just have to speak. If you don't have anyone to speak to, then you speak to yourself, right? Find some kind of area, find some kind of area of interest of yours, and use it for the purpose of studying. Got it? If you liked the video, please subscribe, comment, like it, dislike it, I don't know, but interact some way. Right? See you guys.